Hello, everyone out there. Cap is back. I'm kidding. He's not.
I'm here.
The cap, not you. The
Oh.
Cap we actually care about, and then he's not back. Because we're here to talk about the new episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's episode 4 to be exact. That's the whole world is watching to be exact. Please excuse how I look. I just took a shower because a girl's gotta be clean every now and then.
I'm gonna be honest. Omar looks worse than you look. So, what's his
Aw.
excuse?
Speaking of, pour one out for our homie, Omar Zaki himself. We are going to have a moment of silence for our missing brother tonight because he's making dinner and spending time with his beautiful wife and baby because their power went out. It's a tough life they're living.
Yeah, for some reason,
we miss him dearly.
There's just been like a 24-hour storm over the city of New Orleans. So
yeah, it's been freaking weird because when they say hurricanes are gonna hit us, it's like barely a drizzle. But
right?
On a normal Tuesday, we all have to fear for our lives. It's great, really.
When I was walking outside the house like an hour ago, I was like, "This is more wind than any of the last couple storms we've had."
Dude,
it's like, holy shit.
tried driving. I was like driving. I clearly, like I've told you guys in the past, I'm living in Slidell right now, but I'm working in New Orleans, and I'm driving across the bridge to come home, which you have to drive over this huge body of water, and it's like super windy to the point where I'm like, oh shit, am I safe? Then I have this grand idea. I'm like, oh, there's an 18-wheeler on one side of me. If I get on the side of him, it'll block the wind and I can drive. So I'm doing that. It's great. It seems like a great idea. I get home, tell my parents about it. They're like, hey, like 18-wheelers are tipping over out there. So like glad it didn't fall on you. And I'm like, cool. You'd think I'd think better under pressure, but I really just don't. So that's how my night went.
Oh, God. I'm really glad you made it home safely. Just examining your logic now. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. It wasn't too great of an idea, but hey, I'm here, and we're here to talk about a great-ass episode and show. If I haven't already told you guys, which I know I haven't, we're press play again, like we've always been, continuing. It's me, Bailey, with him, wherever he is. That's Matt.
You pointed the right way.
We're missing
Good job.
our third amigo, which is Omar Zaki. He'll be back with us on the next episode that we do. Had to miss out tonight. Dear friend of the community that we don't have.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a real good guy.
We're going to go ahead and dive into this, though. This new episode called The Whole World is Watching. And boy, did that not make sense until the very end of the episode. So great, though.
When
and
quite
so
literally...
worth the title. So worth the title.
Yeah. People, I tell you what, they pull out their phones fast. Real fucking fast.
I mean, yeah, come on. It's 21st century, people. Like, idiot, you know? Yeah, there it is. So, yeah. It's been out. It's out. So we have to talk about some very important things that happened in this episode. First off, what did you think of it, Matt?
Let's see. This episode was fantastic. Super
Sweet.
good.
That's it?
Super good. That's all I got. No,
Okay.
No, I did like every episode so far. I mean, I've really been digging the show, but this one shit clearly hits the fan at the end. I like that it got a little bit complicated with Zemo in this episode. Kind of had some different leverage plays going on here. We got right into the Wakanda stuff early on too, which I liked that. It was kind of interesting how they were just like, how long did they give him? Was it what, like a day?
8
hours.
We're coming
8 hours. Tell you what, that's not a lot of time.
Really random
to use your criminal that you broke out of prison for all the good that you're trying to do. You know what I mean? 8 hours is not that much time.
Well, he's a murderer, so
he is.
Typically, they're given 8 hours to redeem themselves.
Yeah, 8 hours is the line. So keep that in mind if you ever commit a crime and you think you're going to get broken out. It's not forever, as we're seeing with Zemo here. But no, yeah, I liked everything going on in this episode. I thought there were a couple things that felt a little bit awkward to me. Some of just like the dialogue going on sort of in the middle of the episode, it was weird. Like I thought the conversation with Carly, right? That's her name. I keep forgetting her name. When Sam and her were talking, it was a really powerful moment, but it was like something about it was just weird to me. Like the whole way he like tricked her.
Right, right. Which we'll
And
get into that.
she was like, "Oh, you tricked me." And I was like, "It's cool that that happened," but I was like, the way that that played out was just a little bit weird. Like it was a little hard to follow almost. I was like, I don't really know what's
Right.
going on here. But yeah, overall, I love the episode. What a wild ending that I can't wait to talk about. And things are really things are really ramping up here on the old Falcon Winter Soldier. You know, 2 episodes left. I'm in. I'm ready to see what's gonna happen.
I know. I'm so glad. I loved this episode too. The last 2 episodes have really just hit a note for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know why Zemo coming into the picture is what's completely changed and made this show that much better for me, but it's working and I don't want him to ever go away.
Who
I
would have
love
thought?
Zemo. Um I did think there was like some sort of like I get what you're saying. There's some sort of weak parts with dialogue and like I don't know. It's not like you don't need to be super nitpicky about it or anything. Like it was fine. It's just
Yeah,
like it was just fine kind of thing. So I get what you're saying with that. But other than that, the action was God, the action was phenomenal in this episode. So they made sure to hit all like they did the whole we're hitting the most climactic parts of the show in this episode so that we have 2 more hours to wrap everything up, which I actually really appreciate that. Because I didn't think it was going to be possible to wrap up any of this shit like from like there's so many storylines to follow, but now that we saw the last episode I'm like, "Oh, actually do think
yeah. I
like
think they're gonna
semi
be able to.
possible." Yeah, so that's cool to see. But enough about all of that mishigosh. Let me tell you about this
Gosh.
other mishigosh that we have to go through before we start diving into this episode. Um, if you want to listen to us on anything other than YouTube, which I don't understand why, you should always subscribe to us and like us on here. But if you don't, that's cool too. You can listen to us on Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Apple Podcasts. And don't forget, click 5 freaking stars. That's all you got to do. Um, if you want to follow us on social media, it's at Again Press on Twitter and at Press Play Again on Instagram. We post like updates of what's coming up that we're going to talk about and discuss. Just funny shit. We put Matt's face and Omar's face on Godzilla and King Kong. We do stuff like stupid because who has time for real things? We just do easy things. But they're funny, so you can come join us for that. And we will be posting always our Falcon and Winter Soldier discussions on Thursdays at 10 a.m. So you can come check those out. We're gonna do it continuing through Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then even more onto like any of the
Loki.
other shows coming out on Disney Plus and all the good stuff, you know. Maybe we'll talking about Invincible. I don't know. We haven't
We
discussed that yet,
should.
but the more I
What a
watch it, the
show.
more I think
God,
about it. I'm like, we should just discuss this show. Anyway, I'm
I
this
know.
is neither here nor there, you know. But yeah, leave us comments about anything you want and discuss all of this with us because we want to know what y'all think too. Other than that, that's all I got. So we can actually start talking about this episode. And boy, oh boy, Matthew, I know he knows how much I love Bucky, right?
She has
It's
always
been
loved
this.
Bucky.
Oh,
About I think 3 years ago, I gave her a little action figure of Bucky.
he did. I still
Um,
have it. I should have had it prepared for this moment, but I don't. So,
Back then, it was a joke because I thought Bucky was pretty lame, and I thought Bailey was just like sexually attracted to this robot man, Bucky. I thought it was
I
all the
mean,
arm. Now I'm
it was
seeing
both.
Now I'm seeing there's a lot more depth to this guy. I mean, speaking of fucking right when this episode starts,
That's what
right?
I'm saying. Like,
Oh,
people
I had a
are
tear in
like
my eye.
petitioning to get him nominated for this performance for like an Emmy or whatever. And I'm like, yes, I see that because
I'd be about it.
his emotional performance just in like his face, not even really saying anything, is very impressive. I thought it was so cool too how like they bring in these characters from Wakanda, and then the next episode we get, they literally start you in the episode like in Wakanda, which is cool as hell. Like
Oh yeah.
one of the coolest things this show or the 2 shows we've seen have done because
Anytime you see
it's
the shot, the
involving
overshot of Wakanda,
oh,
and like
and the music. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, give it to me.
Yeah. No,
I
I
know where
don't
we're at.
really with that, but
Wow.
yeah, no, I think that part was so amazing and you kind of get to see more of like I believe you pronounce her name Io.
Yes.
If I'm wrong,
Io or Ao.
I butcher a lot of things, so it's my
Share how
beat.
she said my
But
name?
I just said Matthew, so
No.
I can't even come up with something on the fly. But yeah, so it just shows their dynamic and their friendship and like their connection more, which is great because it helps us understand why there's like a connection with them in general in this show. I don't know, it was awesome. So we get that whole part, and then you get her saying he's got 8 hours, and I'm like, ooh,
8 hours.
that's weird.
But it makes sense.
Just
I mean, I thought it was going to
does
be,
it though?
well, yeah, because I mean, Zemo literally did kill their king, right?
But that's what I'm saying, like, it makes sense for the story we're given, but in real terms,
Oh, you
if
mean why would
they
she even give eight
like, she
hours?
wouldn't give him any time. She'd be like,
Yeah,
"No, we're literally taking him."
that is true.
Um, so I
I
guess that's
guess
why you're supposed to believe her relationship with Bucky
yes.
really matters, I
I was gonna
guess,
say I
so
chalk it up to, especially the scene we're given before. She literally cured Bucky of his Winter Soldierness, as I'm gonna
right.
call it, I guess, for the rest of this episode. Um, but yeah, so they clearly have a relationship. I was reading too. I think that's the first time we ever see Bucky speak in Wakandan too. When
Yeah,
he's
which is
talking to
super
her,
cool.
which is really freaking cool. But it shows, there is that connection between these two characters. I feel like him working with Zemo is probably about the worst thing he could do for that connection. So 8 hours is pretty generous. I'm with you. That seems like some MCU magic to keep everybody on leveling, playing, or working together, whatnot. Because I think that Wakanda would be very quick to be like, fuck no, don't care what Zemo's doing.
Well, and
We're not letting him out. But
they pretty much did that like 20 minutes later in the episode.
I was gonna say 8 hours. It
It
went by very fast in episode time.
it proves that they don't like take any shit, which is
Yeah.
actually really cool. But then you finally get the whole thing where Zemo puts the jacket back on, and that's all I cared about because the second he puts that jacket on, I think he's the coolest friggin' motherfucker in the room. Like it's so
Jacket works on him.
I don't know why. It's just so cool to me. But then they go and they try and like track down Carly and the gang, and
Trying to
it
figure out.
gets weird
Yeah.
because he starts offering kids candy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Turkish delight he's giving out to
Dude,
kids.
which did you remember that's the candy they use in,
From
in Chronicles of Narnia?
yes, what's his face? Edmund? Is that
Yeah,
the
because
kid's name?
that part used to scar. It scarred
You know
me
what's
as a
what's
kid.
wait a second. That's even weirder because it wasn't which I just made the connection. It took you or you already on to it, I'm assuming.
Get
But
to that point.
I know, right? But like it wasn't just that it was in the Chronicles of Narnia. It's literally how the White Witch like got
takes, like,
him Edmund in the carriage or whatever. He's like,
I'm
you want some
starting
more,
to get.
you want some more
I'm
Turkish
start-
delight?
I'm starting to get Hansel and I almost said Hansel and Gretel and the witch from Narnia confused because I'm like, yeah, she fattens him up like a big old turkey, but I'm like,
No,
wait,
that's I
that's
don't
a
think.
different nursery rhyme.
Yeah,
But yeah, so the second he said Turkish delight, I was like,
we know what that does,
Aslan?
kids. Yeah.
But so it's like kind of a weird.
Makes
it ends
it
up still being okay.
makes it a little
But
more
it's like
normal because
it's
he.
just a weird way they went with it. Like,
Yeah. Well, Zemo
we're
goes
gonna let
and
him.
he says how it was his kid's favorite candy. So I guess
Right,
that's
which
what.
kind of makes it feel a little bit better. I
little bit.
don't know. I just thought the whole way of him figuring out where the funeral was just a weird way to do it.
Strange.
Like, they're making him so badass. It's like at that point, why not have him just like twist someone's arm and break it or something and be like, tell me where the funeral is. Because he already just murdered a bunch of people anyway.
Yeah.
So I just,
Uh,
it's weird.
I'm assuming they were trying to like tone down the violence on this episode to make the last shot more impactful about
Yeah.
maybe show these characters that we know have killed people before, but show them not doing that since we're about to really hang on that at the end. Spoilers, we'll get to that. But yeah, speaking to what you're saying too, that scene only gets weirder and weirder when he goes back to meet that girl and have her lead them to the funeral. And you've got a girl, Zemo behind the girl. I think he gave her more candy. I can't remember. But then you have about 3 or 4, 2 Avengers, 2, new makeshift event, whatever we're going to call John Walter and
Walter. Walter.
Walter. John Walter Walker.
It's Walker.
I know. Okay, that's an
John
honest.
Walter. John Walter sounds like an old man that's sitting on his porch and like drinking decaf coffee.
Let's be fair though. Does John Walker sound that much different than John Walter?
It really does make that much of a difference.
Interesting. Okay.
People will agree with me.
Agree in the comments. If is John Walter an 80-year-old man and John Walker is a 27-year-old name. But yeah, so it is weird showing all these people following this girl. I was like, this is awkward, and kind of related to John Walker in that moment where he was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Because in my head, I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? This is weird.
But that it's like one of those things where Bucky and Falcon in this episode feel like at this point they feel like a unit. Like they feel like they're like, we got this shit. We are together. We can do this. It's not like they're saying that, they're just acting it, you know? And then we get to the point where Falcon's like, I can talk to Carly. Like I literally do this. I handle this. I can get like this in a good, like calm way. And he does it. And the conversation he has with her is a great conversation that just feels one-sided almost.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like him trying to talk to Carly, everything he's saying and the way he's saying it feels like it has heart. And I don't even want to shit on this actress because I'm sure she's great. It's just
I don't even think it's her fault.
Yeah, just for some reason in the moment, it's like I feel like with the Flag Smashers, they didn't give her much really to work with. Like they built her background story so fast that it's like, how are you really supposed to care that much about it? You know? So like I still am understanding of it and I can get behind like the reasonings for what she's doing, but the conversation fell a little flat for me.
For me too, it's not even like her, like I totally get her motivations and everything, and it's really just the weird dialogue that they gave her to work with in this was like, it was just a weird thing of like that I don't even remember what she said he got her on. She was like, wait, you tricked me. What was it? What did she fucking say that she was like?
It was like because I forgot. It's because they were calling her a supremacist.
Okay.
And he was like trying to trick her into admitting that she
is a supremacist.
And at some point she was like, I'd kill them all again. And you're just like,
okay.
I don't think I would have slipped up saying.
Well, so to me, the weird thing is it's not even her slipping up and saying it. It's her like having such conviction of like, oh no, you got me, you tricked me. Like that just seems like something that a small child would say instead. And I guess she is a lot younger. So again, it's a weird nitpick. I'm not saying it even took me out of it. It was more just like a for the MCU normally having such tight dialogue, even when a joke might fall flat or is corny, I'm not used to more of like an intimate moment like that being a little bit strange and harder to follow. But Sam killing that scene because he said he made a lot of valuable points and really coming into his own in this episode.
He's so, what's the word? Like
Captain America, like he is literally the next Captain America.
No, I'm more just mean he's like a very sincere person when he talks. Like he genuinely, like I feel like I'd really like it if he was my cousin or something, and if I ever had a problem, I could go to him and he'd give me really sound advice, and then I'd listen to it or not listen to it because I don't listen to people. And either way, though, I'm like, Sam's my cousin, and I really think it's one. Oh my god, Uncle Sam.
There you go. That's not an old man though.
No, but like Uncle Sam, that's like the thing for like America.
Yeah.
I just am putting that together. That's why I'm like, oh, but not that. I mean, because either way,
it's perfect.
It doesn't matter.
He should be your uncle.
No, that's not even what I'm getting at, but it doesn't matter. I just think he's so sincere and everything, and I've loved seeing that because you kind of get to see it, but he's mostly just a jokey character. So in this show, we're finally getting like the real Falcon, and I just have been adoring that.
Well, and that's what I mean in the terms of like he really is showing how he can and should, and I think will be the next Captain America because he's showing 100%. All of those qualities. That's like we knew that Sam was always such a great guy, but you're right. He's in a lot of the other movies, he's been more comic relief or just sidelined, and it's doing the thing MCU says that we've talked about on all these episodes, where it's bringing these characters to the forefront, which is great. But I think people wanted him to be Captain America, obviously. I don't think you really had to convince, I'm talking about MCU fans right now, that he could be Captain America. Like, I think everyone's already on board, but I think it's doing a really good job of just solidifying that even more, just being like, okay, so that it, so that you can see why Sam really is qualified for this, contrasting to John Walter.
Walker, come
Walker. Oh
on.
my God, what is going on with me? That's terrible. But yeah, so I really appreciate that we're getting time with Sam like that because it
Well,
just shows that.
and that's the thing, like, you in the exact same episode get the complete opposite with John Walker, who's, like, pacing back and forth, like, waiting to go and not wanting to listen and saying, like, "This is a stupid way to handle this," and it's like, "Slow your jets, dude." Like, I know you've been to war, but you've never been to war with, like, aliens or anything, so, like, the world's different now,
You
okay,
haven't fought
dude?
aliens yet, dude.
Um, and I love that, like, Bucky's just standing there like the security guard, like, his arms are just crossed, and he's like, "No."
Yeah,
And
what
you're
you
just
gonna
like,
do?
"Okay."
You gonna pass me?
I think it's funny. But then he, like, freaks out and ruins it all and then convinces Carly that somehow all the stuff Falcon just said was a ruse, and it's like, "Girl, I mean, if you're that insightful, like, with everything else, you should understand and see that this man wasn't lying to you, and that he clearly isn't working with this dude." So I
Well,
don't know. I get why she was like that because I guess I would be skeptical of anything if I was her, but it's just of course like he had to go ruin it because he's so like arrogant that he can't listen to anyone.
he
They
came in
do
at
really well with convincing people to not like him.
he came in at the worst possible time too, which is typical. But it
Well,
was
yeah, that's
like
just how it is.
he's like, yeah, like Sam's just like, dude, let me do this. I know how to talk to people, and it's of
Dude,
course he has to just barge in and just fucking you ruined it.
and we get right, and we get the whole fight scene, and then finally, like Zemo does his little snaky thing he always does, which is like slip off into a corner and then
Very
appear right
Loki
at the
esque.
right moment. Yeah, and so like he appears right at the right moment, and then that scene where they have like all the serum on the ground, and he's just like standing there staring at it, and I was like, "There's no way he's gonna take one because that would completely defeat the purpose of the reason Zemo is Zemo." And lo and behold, he ends up just trying to smash all of them, and I'm just like, "Of course, there's gonna be one left. Like, there's
There
always
has
just
to be one
one
left.
left." He couldn't have just like, I don't know, jumped on them like with his stomach and all smashed them at the same time and like had reach all the way out.
If
I don't think
he
that probably would have been smart, but he could have maybe got them all at once.
Well, if he jumped on it with his stomach, would he have gotten the one that was the one that made it, right? Wasn't even in the area. Like he smashed all the ones he
That's what
saw.
I'm saying. If you go on your stomach and you have the reach, you can
Oh,
reach
you're
further,
saying
smash that with your hand at the same time. Now I'm saying all of this and I'm realizing they're like syringes.
yeah, they're
So I guess technically if he gets
Zemo just has
infected,
cement hands that he's smashing these with. But
only
you're right though.
only his hands.
He's got once he's down there, he's got the line of sight. He's gonna see under the dresser or whatever the fuck that thing was under. He might
All
not
I'm
smash
saying
it in the
is
moment.
options.
Yeah, he might not smash the moment, but he'd grab that thing. He'd get it out of there. He'd get it away from John Walker's hands.
All you gotta do, go prone, get on that stomach, hands and knees, crawl over, smash. Then John Walker can come in and kick your ass because that's what happened.
Always go
Zemo
prone.
just got knocked the hell out. But then of course you get the infamous he picks it up and you're like, will he, won't he? But I don't think anyone was thinking no, he won't because like,
Won't
come
he?
on.
Won't he do
So
this?
it also doesn't help too that like when we talk about the fight that happens because we need to like finally talk about that. But the fight that happens with the Dora Milaje, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that,
Yes.
with Io and her girls.
That
It's
was weird.
the coolest fight scene of this show so far.
Yes.
Even cooler than the bar fight the episode before.
Oh man,
I have
I liked
never
that bar
I
fight
like
though.
I kept was like getting up in my chair. Like I was
Like,
so
let's go.
like this is so hype. And the fight technique they have and all of it's just so freaking cool. Like I absolutely adored them coming into the picture. And seeing her just like go and then like Bucky's arm falls off.
That was
You're just like,
wild.
holy shit.
Sam's like, you know
That
they could.
is.
Do you know they knew how to do that? It's like, no.
And then the whole fight, no lie, Zemo is just sitting in the corner, like sipping whiskey. Just like watching it all happen. And then you get Bucky yelling, like, looking good, John,
I
or
was gonna say
something.
before Bucky and Sam even get roped into this, they're just like trying not to get involved. They're just like, yeah, looking real good, John.
Yeah,
Real
it's
Captain America here.
and that's the
But
thing. That was like the breaking point when he gets to the end of the fight and he's just like, they weren't even super soldiers.
which
And
was
it's
a
like, yeah,
great,
dude, you're out of your freaking league, okay?
great
Like,
moment.
and it's like at some point, and not that I pity him, But it is one of those things where it's like the country set him up to fail because it's like you're putting him as this new beacon of hope, and he has nothing. Like he's literally just a symbol. He
I
has
will
nothing to
say
back it up, really.
that's one of my only kind of like logical problems with this. And I know, you kind of have to pick your battles with this. What are you going to think too hard about? But the MCU is normally so good about having everything make sense, like in canon. But why would they pick somebody that has no powers or even tech behind them
Well, I
as the
believe
next Captain America? Like, it's just strange that the
I
government would do
believe
that in
it's
this world.
I believe it's explained in the comics. I just don't know enough about them to like speak on it, so I won't because I know I'll be called out for being ignorant. But
They'd be like, dude, you
if
don't know, you
somebody
didn't
out
read
there,
the
if
comics.
somebody out there knows and like can let us know, that'd be great. Because
I'm
I don't really like
genuinely,
look, I don't like looking things up. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I think it gets kind of explained and it makes sense and it creates this cool villain because by the end of this show you see something that I don't think we've ever seen in the MCU, which I adore, and it really does create such an amazingly compelling character. Whether
well,
he's good or bad, like it creates this amazing character. And
oh yeah.
I actually do adore that. So
Yeah, no, it's the thing is it doesn't matter why they do that. Like I'm sure the comics do explain it better, but it's fascinating beyond belief. That he is in this situation and then now he's tasked with, these people that like they don't have powers either. Now, granted, they're like extremely well trained fighters from Wakanda, so he needs to
mhm,
give yourself a little credit, John Walker.
there you go.
There you go. There you go.
um
But yeah, so it creates this very interesting like inner turmoil for him where he has to decide, presumably probably quite easily to take it, but it's just he is missing the whole point of what makes Captain America, what made Steve Rogers Steve Rogers. Um
right.
and the show has done a good job of making us, I don't know if a lot of people not side with him, but sympathize with him. I kind of do a little bit. Still hate him. Nobody go back and watch a couple episodes ago where I may or may not have made some comments comparing him to another Avenger that everyone loved, another Captain America, and might have said that John Walker was better, something like that. I don't know. I don't remember
My
any of that.
brother my brother just poked his head in my room and goes, "John Walker's misunderstood."
That's right. Right. Thank you,
But that
Mike.
but that's the
That's
thing.
what I'm
I
saying,
mean,
though.
which
I
I'm not
get
even
it.
gonna I'm gonna say what I feel at the end of this because I have like more feelings than that. But we need to talk about what happens with the fight at the end. Like the most important pivotal fight of probably this show. And it's when like you kind of start realizing slowly. I don't know when you realized it, but when John Walker like clearly took the super soldier serum.
Here's the thing. I like to consider myself a smart person. For some reason, when I'm watching movies, I pick up on the very last like clue.
You
Like
really do.
I think I just like to psych my like I'm so enjoying it. I'm not trying to figure this shit out. You know what I mean? I don't
Because
want to be
that's the
smarter
thing,
than the
like
movie. I'll know
some
when it's damn time. I'll know when
podcasts
he starts beating this guy's head in. I'll be like, you know what? Human couldn't do that.
well, that's the
But
thing, like, some podcasts say they noticed it, like, when he threw the shield into the wall, and I was like, "I guess," but he's been throwing that shield around so well since the
yeah,
beginning of the
that
show
didn't
that
do it for
I
me.
didn't really catch up with that, but when he kicked someone through a wall, that's
Yeah.
when I was like, "Oh, like, you literally can't do that.
Yeah,
It's a cinder block
and
wall."
jokes aside, that's where I picked up on it too. I was like, okay, he took it. But I also it wasn't that I was shocked that he did. You know what I mean? I kind of
Yeah, I mean, we were all expecting it.
from the moment he picked it up, I was like, he could have taken it at any moment. And so I guess maybe I thought we'd see it on screen, and that's the only reason why I was shocked or a little bit, just kind of like, okay, he took it. But other than that, it wasn't like it's like, oh my god, he took it. He took the super soldier
Yeah,
serum.
no, I
Like no,
know, and
I quite figured he would.
I feel like
Shame
it's
on
one
you,
of those
John.
things that, like, yeah.
It's on your side.
I mean, would you not? Do you really think you wouldn't?
Uh oh god. The worst part about you asking that question and me hesitating is they make a point of that in the show. Which we should talk about that because
Right?
I love that moment of like Zemo is still Zemo. Like he is still the fucking interesting villain that he was in Civil War of like, yeah, he goes about things the wrong way. He is very much still a villain, but his motivations and reason for it is, he doesn't think people need, the super soldier serum. He doesn't think, superheroes are running amok. He's got all these problems with it. And he has that respect for Sam when he asks him, and Sam instantly is like, I wouldn't. Like, and he could tell Sam's
And
like, I
when
don't
he
need
said
it.
that, When he said that, I respected him
Oh,
because
me too.
I literally don't know. Like, I would like to say maybe no, but at the same time, I'm like, I consider myself a good person. So if
For
I took
me,
it, I would be like Cap.
well, that's the thing. I think for me, I would need to like it would be, do you understand the rules of it? Like, is it, because I don't even know if John Walker does. You know what I mean? Like, does he totally get the fact that like the super soldier serum just kind of amplifies the things about you? And I guess he probably does, because he would just think that, okay, well, I am
Well,
good,
that's what his
so it's
friend
gonna work.
says.
Right.
His-
So yeah, so that does make sense then. So yeah, it's just, how naive are you? Do you understand yourself as well as you think you are? Or are you lying to
Yeah,
yourself?
exactly. It's a
Um,
really complex thing.
it
I
is.
actually super like that it's involved in this.
Yeah.
But I know it's one of those things that like that whole conversation with his friend kind of opened your eyes. And then we get to all of this part where he's fighting people and you get like such important things that you're seeing with like Bucky and Falcon, and then like Cap, even with Falcon at some or new Cap, that I shouldn't have even called him Cap, but
He's
you
Cap
get
now.
them fighting together
We're
at
already
some
forgetting
point.
about fucking Steve Rogers. Sam
But that's the
Rogers?
thing.
John
Oh my
Rogers? I can't even
god.
remember his name anymore. It's a distant
But that's
memory.
the thing. Like you kind of see them like fighting together. I don't know. It seems like everything might be cool for a moment and then it
Nope,
all goes to hell.
it
And it's
does.
crazy too, because like you kind of don't. I really liked Battlestar. Like I really liked his sidekick, and I was almost
I almost thought he wasn't
upset.
going to be dead. They kept flashing
Well, I
back to
was
his face, and I was like,
upset.
this would be fucked up if he just wakes up, and then it's like, oh god, you killed him for no reason.
I know, but I mean,
Still no reason, but
I figured he was dead. Like
me
I
too.
didn't second guess
It
that,
looked intense.
and so I don't know. I'm gonna miss him in the show because I actually really liked that character, and but I do know that that's literally the only thing that could be the next push, like turning point for John
John. Well,
Walker.
yeah,
And
because
so it makes Carly kind of like unredeemable too. Cause like when the fact that she did it, I'm just like, well, shit. Like, I really, like, that's really not cool. Like, I really don't know how I feel about Carly anymore with this. Cause
it's
like you kind of pitied her and got where she was coming from, even though she's making bad choices. But that is like, it is a
well,
breaking point.
it's weird too, because it's strange. I don't totally understand her in this fight, because everything stopped when he like hit the wall and it looked like he was dead. Like, if they were fighting to kill, they would have kept going. It would have been like, all right, we killed one of them, let's keep fucking getting at him, and everybody just stopped. And it was this weird thing of like, did Carly mess up too? And it seems like she did. It seemed like she was
She
not trying
did.
to kill him.
Yeah,
So
she
that's
definitely, but
why.
that's the problem, like taking the serum that you don't know how
Oh
to
yeah.
control.
Well, again,
I don't know.
she is the villain, right? So it is one of those things of like, I love when the MCU has these villains that have, maybe the right ideals, but are going about things the wrong way, and Carly kind of falls somewhere in that. Not even the right ideals. Did you listen to the Kind of Funny review of it?
I did.
I
I
thought
did.
Paris Lilly brought up a really good point, where he was like, and we kind of already knew this, but he kind of just like sitting there and like saying it in real words. It's like the Flag Smashers literally are just the continuation of like Thanos's beliefs, and they are like what would
Yeah.
happen on Earth if it was like these people that agreed with Thanos and carried out his trying to continue his mission on
Right.
it. And
I mean, Zemo was right. Like, it is a form of supremacy.
yeah, it
So,
literally is. And so like I thought all of that kind of came even more full circle in this episode, and that was really cool.
well, yeah. And then we finally get to the point, like the turning point of this entire show, which is his sidekick, Battlestar, like is dead. He gets murdered, and everyone's just silent because that is like I don't know. It's one of those things that there's nothing that you could ever do to stop the person from going off and doing what they're about to do. And so you get that
Just
like
running full
sinking
speed.
feeling in your gut because you're like, what is gonna happen with this? And let me tell you, what happened is not at all what I expected to happen. Like, I expected him to kill someone, but I did not expect him to kill someone as brutally as he did or in like just Times Square practically.
Yes.
Like
Not the right
it
place
was
to do
but
this,
you could see
John.
how blinded by rage he was, which
Yeah.
is just so the utter opposite of Cap. Like the utter nothing is more different than Cap than what happened at the end of
Oh
this
yeah.
episode. And so you see him just like the guy is literally saying like I'm sorry, it wasn't me, like pleading for his life and then gets just demolished. And it's hard to watch. And then you get that shot, that last shot. where he's just standing up there with that bloody shield. And it's this symbol. You literally have a backpack of it. Like, it's this such important
God, it's
symbol
blocked.
to, like, anybody who loves Cap or comics or anything, and you see it, like, bloodied for, like, the first time ever, I feel, because
It's like
like
it makes you feel like disrespected. It makes you feel like this thing has meant something to
it
me,
almost
and
feels, like,
everyone's
sacrilegious.
yeah. It's like this shield is supposed to stand for hope and like good. You know what I mean? Like being able to
Yeah.
stare down tough decisions like that and still make the right choice. And it would never involve the shield being covered in blood the way it was in cold blood. You know what I mean? And yeah, and it, obviously, you know, they know what they're doing when they hang on that last shot. And that's how it ends. Is like, fuck yeah, you're supposed to feel mad. I
Mm,
think they've planted the seeds to sympathize with John Walker at times, but it's like, no, right now you are supposed to be like, this is not it. This is not Cap. This is something is wrong. Like this guy
yeah.
is not carrying the mantle the way he's supposed to, and there's no way it wasn't done on purpose too. But the similarities between the stance he's in when he's doing this and the way that Cap was in Civil War over Iron Man, and he stops, he breaks the armor, he shuts the thing down, but he's not fucking killing Tony like that. And it
I
just there's
know.
so many they're really like just kind of in your face, being like, this is not Captain America.
And I freaking love it. And by the end of I this is gonna sound sick. No one judge me out there. By the end of this episode,
I
when all
like
of this
John.
happens, I was like, I respect John Walker more. But not in like a way of I respect him as like a person. I'm like, I respect this villain.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I really appreciate the way they've created this villain. It sucks for him. I mean, he's gonna have a tough life now. But other than that, I mean, I think this was the perfect way to create like this specific character and introduce him into the MCU. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
And the turn is
So
done really
bravo.
the turn is done really well too, how in the same episode that we get a little bit more context for what Carly's going through, and even though we don't agree with what she's doing, we understand why, she is. And so while there's still the Flag Smashers, still the villains, it's like while a little bit shifting from there, then we have this more we at the end of this episode, it's like John Walker is the fucking villain. You know what I mean? Like he is the
Yeah.
bad Cap is the villain of the show, and what we're about to get, I would assume, is going to be like full on bad with that, especially since Battlestar is gone, and that really is the kind of light in his life, and him being there to not kind of be that little good whisper in his ear anymore. I think he's going downhill. So
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
I
I
couldn't agree.
shouldn't have
I couldn't.
more. No, I am very excited to see the rest of the show
Yeah.
and see how this is all going to play out
It's
cuz
like
we have a lot to see play out.
the only thing, like I side with a lot of what happened
Yeah.
with Carly in this episode, but her calling Sam's sister and threatening her, that was a fucking dick move. So didn't like
That was
that.
so
It's a bridge too
dumb.
far for me.
I
It's a bridge too far.
It just didn't feel I know it was like supposed to feel really threatening, but I feel like if I were the sister, I probably would have been like, this is a prank call. This is some shit.
Well,
And then just be like, no, I'm
I
hanging
think
up.
I think the sister should have been a little more scared. I think that's why it felt weird like that. But I believed she would do it. I'm just saying, don't really agree
It's
with.
not that I wouldn't believe it. I just I don't know. I would found that just not as threatening as they were trying to let it come off.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
either way, it got Falcon where he needed to be. That was the whole point of it. Like, so whatever. Kudos to them, I guess. But either way, I'm excited to see what's coming next. If you're excited to see what's coming next on this show, continue to talk with us about it. We like to recap things for you guys because sometimes it's just fun, to recap a show right before you continue it. So you can do that every Thursday with us at 10 a.m. Um, but yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. You got anything else, Matt?
No, I think that's it. I'm really excited for the last two episodes. I think they're gonna be wild.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get the hour and a
Uh,
half episodes that we were promised with WandaVision? Probably not.
no. Omar, how you feel about it?
Dude, it was great.
Oh,
So
awesome.
that's normally
So,
what he says.
yeah. Well, hopefully he'll be on this next with you guys. But until then, grab a glass of whiskey and watch a good fight.